Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Slayer back here again with another video. For those of you who don't know, several months ago I stayed in an inpatient rehab facility. I was there for like 34 days, something like that. And I maintained my sobriety for 93 days once I got out, and then I stopped working my program, wasn't doing the things that I know I needed to do to stay sober, and guess what happened? I ended up back at the liquor store. I relied way too much on other people, because when you're in there with everybody, you're 30 people and it's a journey, it's a group, and we're all going to stay sober, we're going to go to these meetings, we're going to do it, and then one after the next, people kept falling back into the bottle. And me not understanding that the only person that I can really control at the end of the day, and the person that I need to worry about the most, not trying to sound selfish, is myself though. I have to worry about my sobriety. And I ended up drinking again. Well, it taught me something. I learned something from that. I now have more days since my last drink than when I stayed in rehab, and I don't think without the experience of rehab that I would have this. I'd recommend it to anybody, but like with quitting drinking in general, unless you have an actual want and desire to quit, rehab's not going to work. You have to bring that want and desire in with you and out with you once you exit. You need to leave with a plan, and you need to stick with that plan, which I did the first few weeks. I was hitting meetings, I was, doing everything that I know I need to do. But as always, I let that stuff fall off, and then I fell into the liquor store. The first week I was miserable, but once I got accustomed to it, I made friends. I shut my mouth and started listening to what the counselors were saying. It was a beautiful experience. Yeah, I had a great time in rehab. But it's not really what you do while you're in there, it's what you do when you get out. And one of the things that they made us do when we were in there was the first 3 steps of the 12 steps of AA. Yeah, and I know not everybody's a big fan of AA, and neither am I. But what I do like about AA is that it's a group of like-minded people with the same goal in mind, and that's sobriety, quitting drinking or drugging, whatever your addiction is. And you're all there together with that common goal, helping one another out, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm not a giant fan of AA, but I am a fan of the community, and that's why I go to meetings. I think this is super deep. What I wrote down in this is super deep, and it shows exactly why I'm not drinking and why I can't drink. And I had that mindset in there. That's the crazy thing about alcoholism, is that it's insidious, it's deceptive. I was 100% convinced when I was writing these that I was done for good. When I was in rehab, I was convinced I was done, and I ended up going back to it yet again. So it just shows we really have to keep our guard up at all time, because the second that there's a little crack in our armor, bad things can happen. So let's go ahead and get into this, guys. I think this is also going to help you guys not drink as well. So it says, when thinking about your addiction, what does powerless mean to you in that context? And I put, alcohol takes over. The only thing that matters once I have the first drink is how I'm going to get the next one. Everything comes second, and I mean everything. I lose my morals, values, and even myself. And that's all too true, man. It blows my mind. Everything comes second. It's such a selfish disease, but we completely lose control. At least I do. I have no control. I have control as long as I'm not drinking. I'm in power when I'm not drinking. The whole powerless thing, 100% of the time, is nonsense. We are in power as long as we're not drinking. But hey, once I take the first drink, there is no more power. Do you believe you have an addiction? If so, how does it make your life unmanageable? I put, yes, I do. Every aspect of my life becomes unmanageable. I can't work a job or even keep up on my hygiene. I could not meet the basic needs of life. Never, ever. That's what I put. And that's the truth. It says, what is your drug of choice? I put alcohol, Southern Comfort 100 proof is my drug of choice. So the next question is, what other substances have you used? I put weed, shrooms, acid, morphine, and Valium. Yeah, there you guys, now you guys know the other substances that I've had. Why did you use your drug of choice? And I loved how it would take my anxieties and fears away. When I would drink, I lost all care. It brought me out of my shell and made me feel invincible. And it really did, man. I felt almost immortal when I drank it. In the beginning, once I felt, the feeling, that euphoria that booze brings, I just always wanted to stay that way. It was very magical in the beginning. That's what I can say. And it's crazy now how a magical experience has now turned into just a horrific one, that's destroyed my life. But in the beginning, it made me feel invincible. And man, did it work. It worked so well until it didn't anymore. What is one way you were lying to yourself and one way you were lying to others about your addiction? I lied to myself about downplaying the problem. I lied every time I'd pick up again by telling myself this time it will be different, and it never was. I'd lie to others and telling them I was sober even though I'd clearly been drinking and was clearly drunk. When in active addiction, my whole entire life is a lie. And that, again, that's just facts. Alcoholism turns you into a chronic liar. Everything that comes out of our mouths, once I get sober and I'm out of the spell of alcoholism, I can start telling the truth again. But as long as you're under that hypnotic, spell that alcoholism casts on you, it's just, we lie about everything because the only thing that matters is how we're going to get the next bottle. And in our crazy minds, we think that lying is the best way, when really lying is just making everything that much worse. The truth always comes out. What's done in the dark always comes to light. It's facts, but we will sit there and lie and lie and lie. Slurring our words, wasted, drunk, falling into things, but telling our loved ones, I haven't had anything to drink. I'm 100% sober. Really? How has your substance use affected your goals for your life and the progress you have made to achieve them? I put, my substance has destroyed my goals, completely destroyed my goals. I lose all motivation when drinking. My only goal in active use is to get the next drink, and I will lie, cheat, and steal to get it. All dreams and future plans are completely demolished. Well, I just got goosebumps reading that out because, man, ain't that the truth? What is one loss you experienced due to your substance use? Example, lost job, divorce, etc. I lost several jobs, close family members, and close friends. I lost a place to live for a while and lost a relationship of 5 years with my ex-girlfriend. All of them ended bad because when I drink, it always ends bad. I did. I lied, cheated, and still, to get what I wanted and to get what I needed. And that's insane. We don't need to live our lives like that, guys. We just don't. We can have a quote unquote normal life. Life can be exciting without the booze. What made you come to treatment? And I put, because this is the honest truth, to save my life, have a future, and become who I'm supposed to be. And as long as I continue drinking, if I continue drinking and going down that road, I will never, ever reach who I'm supposed to be. No. I will never, have a family, none of that stuff. And if I do, it's not going to be a healthy one. How has your substance use affected your self-esteem, self-image, and self-respect? All of these were destroyed. I used to be outgoing and confident. Alcohol took all of these things from me and more. It did. I was drinking for all of those things, and by the end, all of that was gone. There was no self-confidence. I was completely ashamed of who I'd become. Really a skeleton who I used to be. Nobody even knew who I was, including myself. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't even know who was looking back at me. That's how bad it got, and has gotten, and will get as long as the 2-minute drive from here, that quickly I'd be right back there again. And that's why I can't do that today. I just can't. What are you giving up by staying sober? And I put jail, fights, bad fake friends, rehab and hospital visits, detox visits, bad health, lost relationships, lost jobs, and more. I'm giving up that one thing that is alcohol for everything else in my life. And I'm sure you guys have heard that saying before, but again, that is the truth. We're giving up one thing, which is the booze, for everything else in our life, because it goes back to, again, the only thing that matters when we are drinking is the alcohol. And we give up everything for the alcohol. So which one are we going to choose? Right here it says list 1 to 2 consequences of substance use in each area, and this is the mental. And I put severe anxiety, depression that I thought booze was helping with, but all along was making so much worse. I have mental damage from alcohol that most likely will never be fully healed. I think that that's probably true, man. I'll have to make a whole video on that. Physical, liver, pancreas, stomach problems, broken foot, broken bones, dislocated fingers, injuries from fights and falls, muscle and weight loss, which is an absolute fact, and alcohol withdrawal. All of those things, all terrible. Spiritual, I put, when I drink, my relationship with God is severed. I stop praying, reading the Bible, and I lose all touch with my higher power. And that's 100% true. When I'm drinking, I am not a spiritual person at all. I'm not doing anything beneficial for my spirituality. You know how when I'm sober, a lot of that means the world to me. Well, when I'm drinking, it's like I said it's severed. That's the perfect word for it. It's terrible. Relationships, I put, every relationship in my life has been damaged when I've been drinking. Every single one, every single person that's come in contact with me in my life. I've either messed up my life more or messed up their life while I've been drinking. That's a fact. It does not matter. As I put, it does not matter. I put, I never meant to do this, but it was just the way it was. And that's a fact. I never meant to destroy these relationships or hurt these people, but as long as I was drinking, that's what's going to happen. Alcoholism, it turns us into monsters. It really does. We're the worst. It turns us into the worst people ever. Yeah, and it's terrible. Legal, I put arrest, court costs, jail, forced detox centers. And I wrote in all caps, all of them suck. Yeah, they do. Don't go to any of them. Work and school, I put it 100%, it damaged, this is something that I don't think I've ever shared on the channel, but I had to go back and finish high school. Online I did it, actually, because I never graduated. It wasn't necessarily because of booze, but booze played its role in that. I was just more focused on drinking and smoking tons of marijuana, and I just school just was not a priority to me. So later on, I had to go back and finish it online, which I'm glad that I did. I put, what was the cost of your behavior while high or drunk? And I put thousands upon thousands of dollars. There's no way to be 100% sure. How has your substance use impacted your employment and or schooling? And I said, as I said before, drinking and using affected all these areas severely. Has your substance use caused you to behave in ways that go against your values. And I put my substance destroys all my values, morals. When I drink, I become a monster. Total Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And then the last question was, do you want to continue in your sobriety, and how will you do that? So I'm going to show you guys that I didn't even write anything out right here, because this last part, when I had to read it in front of everybody, and I said this in front of everybody, it came straight out of my head. I said, I don't need to write this one down because I know exactly what I need to do to stay sober. I've known for quite a while. And that's what I've shared with you guys before. Each one of us have to do certain things to maintain our sobriety. And, you know, reading that over and going through this stuff from rehab, it just shows me exactly, I mean, those questions, I mean, that's the truth. I mean, it does. It destroys everything. And that's why I can't drink today. That's why, if you're anything like me, you can't drink today. When I was in rehab, I mean, I was super determined. I wrote in this notebook, every single night I wrote prayers in this notebook because you wouldn't have your phone. And they taught us all sorts of different stuff. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with it. Stuff like stop, all this type of stuff. We went over that, and yeah, man, going through all of this stuff, it really was, because I wrote a lot of super deep stuff when I was in there, and it all is a reminder of why I'm staying sober. I drew this creepy, spooky drawing when I was in there. Yeah, that's great, isn't it? I'm definitely not an artist, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, guys, that was my step one. It's like I said, you know, we do have power over. Check this out. That's great. We do have power over alcohol as long as we're not drinking. As long as we don't pick up the first drink, the ball is in our court. It's like I said before, once we take the first drink, that's when the power is gone. And that's exactly why I'm not going to take the first drink. And I hope that you guys don't. If you are in active addiction, I always say there is a way out. If you drink a lot and you experience withdrawals, I always suggest to go to a detox facility. But there's ways out. There is a way out, guys. You can get out. And I'm just extremely happy to be sober today. I'm happy to have the time that I do. And guys, let's not go back to that life. Let's not go back to that life. Trust me, there's been times in my addiction where I've been 100% convinced that this is it. I'm not going to be able to make my way out of it this time, and there's no more hope for me. It's over. And to be sitting here in front of you guys with 95, 96 days, whatever, sober, because I try not to count. It's a good feeling. And it just proves that no matter how many times that you fall, you can continue to get back up. And it's like LD, our friend, always says, you're not really a failure unless you stop trying. The saying says, don't quit quitting. And that's the truth. Don't stop. I know how hopeless it can feel at times. I know how the depths, the despair, the hopelessness that our addiction can put us in. And I'll be dealing with this. We deal with it our entire life, but I've met so many sober people, and the longer that I have sober, I start to see little glimpses of hope. And I see that in other people that have long-term sobriety. There is a way out. There really is. We don't have to live our lives in bondage, because that's what it is. In bondage of these things, we become a slave to it. I know that I do, an absolute slave to the bottle. We don't have to live our lives like that. We don't have to. So I love you guys so much. The next video I think is going to be on self-loathing and alcoholism, because I posted something asking you guys what you would like to see, and that was the top voted comment. So I think that I'll make a video on that. And there's another one that, what am I doing to have fun in sobriety? I think that's a really important video too that I'll make for you guys. But yeah, let's stay sober today, man. Reading over that, it showed me exactly why I'm not going to be drinking today, and I hope that you guys stay sober as well. I hope that me sharing this could help one of you. So I'll be back in a couple days with a new video. And until next time, guys, please stay safe, stay sober. If you feel like you're going to drink, reach out before you do. Somebody will be there to help you. And I love you all. See you real soon. Peace.